Welcome to the Belonging Podcast by Elev8 Villages. I'm your host, Melissa Kaye, and today I have Maria Travieso with me. She is a Christian influencer, content creator, minister, and cancer survivor. Maria, welcome to the Belonging Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so excited. I've been looking forward to talking with you and just sharing our stories, our experiences. I know that a lot of people are going to be touched by what we have to say today.
Absolutely. So for those of you who were not in my life 10, 20 years ago, I owned a hearing aid company called Here on Earth Hearing Aid Center. At the same time, I also was a managing director of a women's network from eWomen Network in El Paso, Texas. Maria was my secretary, receptionist, translator, personal assistant, and overall guru.
Okay.
I think we learned a lot from each other.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's been really fun ever since watching her journey. So Maria, back before you were an influencer and a minister and a creator, before all these new chapters, compared to now, who were you then?
Well, back then, I was just a woman in a marriage that was just going through everyday routine, that was just complacent, had no hopes of any new thing happening in my life. Very low key, and just waiting every day for life to go by. That's what
Okay.
happened.
And you were a mom.
I
You
was a
were a mom
mom,
too.
mom to two young men, amazing men, and yeah, doing marriage, and that was it. That was my life. Then I met you, and wow, was that whoo, a whirlwind.
I have to tell you, I always appreciated how you held the space in our office with so much kindness and wisdom. I said, like before, that you taught me a lot, and you definitely knew how to round off some of my rough edges, but with kindness. And you would just be really, this is how I feel. And I was like, wow. And so always was really, I was so grateful for the feedback you gave me. And for our audience, Maria and I both went through our divorces at the same time. So this was over a decade ago.
Wow,
And
already.
yeah, like 11
Wow.
years, 11 years ago.
Wow.
And I ended up going through a divorce and then selling the business. And at the same time, Maria was going through a divorce,
Yes.
and she stayed with the company that took over for a little bit, and then also went on and did different things. So let's talk about the divorce, because we have that in
Yes.
common, and we're both so far removed from it, but I know
Yes.
we both learned a lot from it.
Yes.
So I guess first, what did the divorce do to your sense of identity?
It really shook me. I was not expecting. I know that at that time we were having problems in our marriage, and I know that things were not going the way it should have been. And after 25 years of this is my normal. This I went straight from my dad's house into marriage. There was no in between. So this is the only life I knew. So when the divorce comes, I am devastated because I don't know who I am. I don't know. I felt lost.
Mhm.
I didn't know who I was because I never had a chance to or I was allowed to discover what I liked. So simple things like what side of the bed to sleep on was difficult for me.
Yeah.
I was having problem like I ordered pizza for me. I'm the only one eating. What do I like? So
Mm.
I'm like now I have to figure out things by myself. And so what did it do to me? It forced me to go into a process, into a journey of finding out what I like, who I am, what are
Mm.
my desires, what do I want to do with my life. It just pushed me so severely. And it took me a while. It was a process, but it really shook me and made me think, okay, who am I and what I want out of life? It was process.
Such a courageous and brave thing you did. Being there and witnessing it, it was like you just jumped off a cliff and said, well, we got to figure this out.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Exactly.
because I left shortly after that, I know we stayed in contact for a little bit, but I left shortly after. Who or what helped you to rebuild yourself? Like, where did you find the strength? Where did you find your new identity? And what did that journey look like?
Well, what I I was so lost and I didn't know who I was or what became of me, and I lost friends and I lost so many people. My network was gone, my church life was gone, and I felt in a way totally alone. And I went inward. And I started asking questions to myself and asked God, okay, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? Who am I? How do I feel about this? So I started changing my friends and I started looking to people that had answers that I was looking for. I started to listen to podcasts with people like you bringing answers and saying things. So I got into podcasts. I started reading self help books. I started finding people that were having success transforming their lives. I started to going to the search because the group of people around me didn't have the knowledge that I needed. I went
Hmm.
and searched for that. I changed my friends. I changed my friends, my contacts. I changed so much because I knew that I needed to find some answers and I wasn't going to find them in where I was at. So that where it became my journey. And then I started to develop my relationship with God in a different way, not the Sunday school God that I was used to, not the
Mm.
Sunday school God that I heard about. So it was that, okay, God, all these years I've sung about you. I want, who are you? I wanted to know the author of the book.
Mm.
Like, let me ask the questions of who am I? And then that helped me figure out who I am.
Wow. So it sounds like, let me sort of unpack that you said. So right after the divorce, all of a sudden your belonging as a wife, your belonging as a mother was gone. I mean, you were
Gone.
still a mother, but the relationships totally changed.
Yes.
And so instead of finding your belonging in an addiction of some type or in like just losing yourself in other people and your job, instead you chose to just belong like to yourself and to God and then rebuild from there. Would that be
Absolutely.
okay?
That's accurate. That's exactly what I did.
Okay. And that's so interesting because both of us grew up as preachers' kids.
Yeah.
And both of us have had, I would say, in our adult lives, like a reckoning with that. So let's go here. I think that sometimes belonging inside of religion, and right now I'm using religion intentionally
Yes.
outside of God or our personal relationship, but with the unique way that both of us grew up as a preacher's kid inside a church, I know I felt the pressure in order to belong, I had to behave in a certain way. Did you feel
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. All the time. All the time. All the time. That is the way the community being belonging to a church community has its benefits, and we know it
Right.
also has its pros and cons. And one of the cons is that you have to behave a certain way to be accepted and receive the love of the acceptance of that community. And if you don't behave the way they expect you to, then they shun you. And when you're feeling and you feel vulnerable and you don't have the strength to stand on your own, you crave that, you need that acceptance, you need it, so you do whatever it is that the community wants you to do so you can belong because you don't know how to be any other way.
Yeah.
But in that sense, when I was going through all of this, I even separated from that because even though the community helped me later on, and I'm not saying it didn't, the
Mhm.
community helped me later on in the process, but my relationship was much healthier as to what I expected from them and what I was willing to give.
I did the same thing. Yeah, I separated for quite a while and never gave up faith, but
Absolutely.
I did have to step back for quite a long time and get really okay with my relationship with God before I could attempt, okay, now how do I belong in a church?
Yeah.
And certainly a church is made up of humans and none of us
Correct.
have figured it all out yet.
That's right.
Um, but if we're honest, I think we would both agree that church can be a place where people feel they belong the least.
Yes, it can happen.
And it should be a place where we belong the most,
Correct.
right? What's the difference in your mind between belonging to a church or in a church or with a church and belonging to God? Like, what would be the difference in your experience?
In my experience, I see what I see the church is a community that helps you nourish the relationship that you already have with God. You have to have a relationship with God. You have to know Him personally. You have to talk to Him, pray with Him, pray, read, have that understanding, that feeling that you know God, that you read the Word, and He becomes real in your life every day. The church is just supporting that.
Yeah.
The church is not God. Church is just a place where we all gather, we all support each other, human as possibly can, but it's not the source of your relationship with God. It's two separate things. The community, the church community just supports your relationship with God. It just gives you an environment for it's just like if you're a lover of coffee, you go to a coffee shop because everybody there loves coffee. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
you drink coffee, you have your own relationship with coffee, however you like your coffee. But you're there, you go to Starbucks or you go wherever, or Dutch Brothers, wherever you go, because everybody there likes coffee. So we all talk about coffee. We like coffee. We talk about coffee. We tell each other's order, but but you need to go get your own coffee.
And you
You
gotta drink your own coffee.
you got to drink your own coffee.
I like that. It's a great analogy.
So it's the church is just a place, except the only thing is that sometimes there because of our own beliefs and culture, it's heavy influence on what it should be and what we present it to be and what it is. But if we go biblically, the Bible just says to gather together in one accord,
Mm.
just gather together. It doesn't say make this, so it's just a place. You got to see it that way. It's just a place where the community meets, where people that like coffee get together and talk about coffee. So, and then it's just, that's it, that's it. So they're totally two separate things. You can have an amazing relationship with God. You can have a relationship with God outside of the church. However, it's nice to go for a cup of coffee with other people that like coffee.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay.
So, how do we create? I love that analogy, and I think that's going to help us on this next question. How do we create faith communities where people actually feel safe, not just be there, but to be seen for who they are, that they don't have to act, they don't have to perform, they can be human within this faith community or this church. How do we create that?
Well, it starts with people like you and me. Exactly, with people like you and me that have discovered that understanding, that have gone through this experience, and we know what the other side's like. And we
Mhm.
and we and God has moved in our lives, and we have rebuilt a relationship. We have a different relationship than our fathers and our forefathers, and we've learned that this new generation needs new things. So like you and me, that we start communities with a different mindset, with a new mindset. Not necessarily that the gospel has changed, but the presentation of it for a new generation has changed. So with people like you, that's how we started. With people that have your understanding, with people that like me, that we have a different understanding of what this generation needs. That's how it starts.
Mm. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. What's one thing that you've done with your church family in the last, let's say, year where you really felt like you belong, like outside of maybe the service? What's one of the extracurricular, let's say,
Yeah.
church activities where you was like, wow, I really belong and this really feeds my soul?
Well, there's several things that we do that I like that makes me feel connected to the ladies in church and the friends in church and all that is when we do outreach. We go to the Salvation Army as a group and
Okay.
then we serve there. When we go to the Child Crisis Center and we serve there and we gather together and we serve there and we're just side by side doing this and feeding the homeless and serving this and serving that and we get to talk and and also when we have Bible studies in the homes, because right now we have on Wednesdays we go and we eat, we fellowship, and we
Mm,
read the Word and we share and I get to know them and I get to know her and her kids and her cat and her dog and just talk about life other than just
nice.
the church setting. So that makes me feel connected to them outside of the church.
How big are those groups?
12 or less.
12 or less. Okay. Yeah,
So,
it's
and the purpose and one of the reasons they made him, they suggest 12 or less so we can connect. Because if the
uh-huh.
group is too
Mhm.
big, we go back to the same thing. It's just like church. So it has to be very intimate, very intentional, and that it's nice to drink coffee and eat, and then we had enchiladas, and we had this and talk, and it's like, "Ooh, we go to the same church. I don't know who you are." So, because sometimes the church is big, you don't get to know people, and
Absolutely.
that creates that belonging. "Oh, okay." So next time I see her in church, it's like, "Oh, you're the lady that brought the enchiladas, right? Oh, I know, I remember you from group," you know?
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Is it the same group you get together with every Wednesday, or it's,
Yes.
like, rotating to where you
No,
get to
we
know?
whoever is in your area.
Okay.
So the group is by zip code, so
Oh,
we got
smart.
so you don't have to drive too far. I mean, you can if you want to go to a different group, but we try to make several groups around town that are close to where you live. So if you have kids that have to go to bed early, you don't have to drive too far, and it's you go and come and eat. It's probably about an hour and a half. Anybody can stay longer if you want to, but
Right, of
let's say
course.
an hour. Everybody can go home and take your enchilada plate home.
You know what I love about that, Maria? And I'm thinking of this in two sides of my brain. Like, you're always helping me. Of course, growing Elevate Villages, and that's like our home pods are in groups of 8, like 8 homes per pod. And then we'll have governance groups that are also 8 or 10. And those numbers have been really intentionally brought about
Yes.
because that's where people can most connect. It's big enough that if 2 people don't get along, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
small enough that everybody knows each other. And on the flip side, with the church that I'm in now, I've had the beautiful invitation to help them build community. And so this
Oh, it's
helps me to know
awesome.
what's happening. So before we get off the church topic, I'm happy for you to give your church a call out.
Yes, the Rock Faith Center in El Paso, Texas with Pastor Eric Hallback. Woo!
And we'll go ahead and I'll link that below. So if you are in El Paso or you're traveling through, it is the church I went to right before I left El Paso.
Yes,
And
uh-huh.
um,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. So I'll link that, and I go to Palestine Church here in Palestine, Texas, so I'll link that one
Oh,
too in case
nice.
anyone's listening that wants to come and have coffee with us.
Yes, uh-huh, exactly.
Yeah, so let's move on, to your terrifying health diagnosis. How long ago was that?
About 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer stage 2.
Wow.
Mhm, so I had cancer and I had a 3-pound tumor. So it was tumor and cancer all at the same time, and, yeah, but I'm thank God I'm in remission right now, healed and moving forward, but that was right after the divorce. So when I realized something was wrong and I was bleeding and I couldn't stop and all these
Oh,
health
no.
issues, and I went to the doctor, and I remember, I went in the emergency room and it didn't come out. The doctor came out and said we need to run some more tests. And she came back and she said we found cancer, and you have a
Mm.
tumor. So call your family. And that was
Whoa.
that was another moment where now when I think about it, when you go through the divorce, and that was my journey to start getting to know who I am in God and
Mhm.
who I am. So that journey of knowing myself and how strong I could be, I didn't realize how strong I was until I started to going through things. It's like the tea bag, you don't know how strong it is until you put in hot water. So me and my analogies. So
I love them.
So I was putting hot water and I started to realize how strong I was and how capable. Because sometimes
Mm.
we doubt ourselves so much until we're put in these positions that you just have no choice but to do it. You just have no choice. You just gotta do it. When the divorce started happening and then the cancer hit, I was in a better place to understand that, like, I could do this. I could hold on to God, hold on to family, hold on to a network of people that were amazing, and you were part of that. Even I remember I was telling you on the other podcast, I remember that you gave me the necklace that you wore that says fearless,
The fearless women's
and
sword. Yeah.
every little thing God moved, God put in my
Mm.
way. He built this community of people outside of what I expected. The people that expected to be there weren't. And God brought this whole
Mm.
people, brand new connections, brand new. And I'm thinking, what an amazing. I don't thank God for the cancer. I'm not happy about it. However, now looking back, I'm glad it's something that God used to perfect me, to change me, to mold me. Is something that I allowed God and say, okay, what can I learn from this? I could have said, I can't believe I've served you all my life and I'm a Christian and I get this. And I could have become bitter and I could have become all those things and why me and all that. But I chose to have a different mindset. And that is a takeaway from this. Your mindset is so important on whatever is it that you're facing. You've got to change your mindset because if not, you are going to go the wrong path and it's not going to go your way. You've got to see it with a different perspective
Mm.
so you can have a better understanding. What is it that I need to learn, or how can I go through this and stuff? So it was a moment in my life that a second time when I say, okay, God, who are you?
I can tell you it's the hard times, it's the valleys that make us strong. Yeah, it's like the mountaintop, like everybody wants to live at the mountaintop, but you gotta climb the mountain to get to the mountaintop,
Yeah.
and then the mountaintop is small. Like, there's a lot more of life than those moments are just like rewards, but that's not where you grow. It's the rough, tough times.
That is a quick I am telling you, that's one of the things I learned, that there's nothing like a big problem or trial that will grow you faster.
Yep.
Going through something, that grows you exponentially. When you go through
Does.
things, you start growing. I mean, if you allow it and you have a good attitude, it will grow you leaps and bounds when
Whew.
you go through some stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, and I guess you can go through, what they say, you can get bitter or you can get better.
Yes,
Like, you
I
could
like
go
that.
through and feel sorry for yourself and
Oh, yeah.
but you didn't. Like, you just you laced up your boots and picked up your sword and
Yep,
you went
let's do it.
and figured out how to grow
Uh-huh.
yourself and how to, belong more to yourself and belong more to God, and so, like, you mentioned, new friends coming into your life,
Mhm.
and I know for a lot of us, when somebody goes through something difficult, cancer, illness, and maybe a death in their family, I even get to the points where I'm like, I don't know what to do for them. Like, I don't want to be too much. Like, do I take them food, but can they even eat? I don't know. And I second guess stuff a lot and end up probably not doing something. So while you were going through cancer, how did friends create, I'm going to say create belonging for you, but
Mhm.
like what were things they did that meant a lot to you so that our listeners can, like, if they have somebody going through something, they'll have some great tips on things they can do to minister to the
Yes.
person going through a really rough time.
A lot of times, one of the things that for me was honesty. Honesty, and that sounds funny, but I had friends that say, "You know what, Maria? I wanna support you. I just don't know what to say. I'm so sorry." I took that. I'm like, "Appreciate that."
Okay.
Or they would say, "You know what,
Mm.
Maria? Um, I know I don't know how you feel, but can I pray for you?" Or, "I hope you're having a great day." Or, "I know I'm gonna" and they would be okay with me sometimes having the energy to respond, sometimes not responding or just saying, "Okay," but just once in a while, just to call and say, "I'm here. That's it. How can I help you today?" Or just show up and sit with me. That's it. You know
Mm.
like they do sitting Shiva, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
that in the
Yeah.
Jewish they just sit down and cry with you. And I had people that just come and say, "You know what? I really don't know what to say. I'm just calling to let you know that I'm here. I'm just here." And I was so
Oh.
grateful. I was grateful. And when they could, they send a plate of food. When they could, they just gave me a call or send me a text. But they showed up and said, "I'm here." And
Mm.
then they allowed me to say yes, no, and gave me grace that if
Mm.
I didn't respond, they would come back. And
That's
they
so
gave me that
helpful.
space that for me to react however I needed to react or however much energy I had to react at that moment for that. And they allowed. They didn't say, "Oh my God, I sent her a plate and she didn't eat it." Or, "Oh my God, I sent her a thank you note and she didn't call me." And, "Oh my God, I sent her flowers and she didn't send me a thank you note." There was so much grace given to me that they
Mm.
allowed me to behave however my energy level let me behave.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. I think that's so helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for the listeners as well. That because I always have this like idea that there's something right. Like I
Nope,
don't know what it is, and
nope,
so
there's
just
nothing wrong.
to have that freedom to say I don't have to. It's not
Nope.
about spending money, or it's like
Yeah,
just being there and calling and saying
there's
I don't know what you need, but I'm here.
yeah, there's
Man,
not a
that's
right.
beautiful.
I'm freeing everybody. I'm setting you free, letting you know that there's not a right comment to say to somebody going through cancer, somebody that's going through an illness, or even a death or grief. There is not the right thing to say, but there is the
Mm.
right thing to do, and is show up. Just,
To
"I'm here."
show up.
Just, "I'm
Yeah.
here."
Isn't that like what belonging's all about when we try to create belonging for each other is to show up?
That's it. Just, "I'm here."
Yeah. Be
You
present.
wanna cry, you don't wanna cry, you just wanna sit at the edge of the bed? Okay, I'll be here. I mean, I'll just sit.
Mhm.
I'll always remember this moment when I had one of my friends, and she came and she was one of the ones that said, "I don't know what to tell you, girl. I don't know. That's scary stuff you're going through. But here's a
Yeah.
pillow. I'm gonna sit here in the living room. I'm gonna watch something on my phone. I'm gonna watch you sleep. If you need water, I'll get it for you, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just here. I'm just here." She was like a plant. She was just stood there, and that was so comforting because I didn't feel obligated to respond to her in the right way. She didn't feel obligated to tell me the right thing to release me from my pain. It was just like, I'm here, whatever you need. So, and we were like there several times, and that was so just for her to be there. That was good. That was good enough. So things like that.
Mm.
A lot of things like that.
Wow. During your cancer journey, now what was the time that was the most difficult? Like, what was the bottom?
The bottom was right after I had the surgery, and they had to remove the tumor. They did kind of like that. They stripped all the cancer they could. So I was in front of the mirror, and this is one of those moments that you're just like, "Oh my god, I could really die," because I had taken a shower, I came out, and I had the bandages from the surgery, and then I had this right here. It was still hurting. This is where they put the catheter. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it
Catheter?
right. Yeah, they
Mhm.
put it here, and then this is where the vein goes for the chemo. So I had
Okay.
this, and I had that, and I was bald. I had lost all my hair. So I'm standing in front of the mirror, and I'm looking at myself and thinking, look at what this illness has done to me. Looked at myself and I said, I don't have no hair. I have this and I have this thing and I have this big thing. And then I'm thinking, nobody's ever gonna want me. I'm not a woman.
Oh.
I've lost all womanhood. I'm never gonna be happy again. And that moment, it was one of the very few moments where I was negative about the whole situation. And then I just allowed myself to vent, to cry, to just grieve what I had lost. And after I cried and I just okay, I said, "I'm not the same person anymore. That person had died. I just grieved, and that was the lowest, 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 saddest point. But at the same time, I let it go. And
Hmm.
at the end of my crying fit, I said, God giveth and God take it away. If this is how I'm gonna go, let it be so, let it be done." And I let it go. And I said, I'm just going to live every day the best way I can. Then my attitude had to change. I had to come say, okay, get up. Let's do this again. You already had your crying fit. You already had your moment. Just get up and do it. Just get it. Get up and do it. Get up and do it. And that was a moment. That was a moment.
Yeah.
Then
So
now I have my
wise. Like you let yourself feel
yes.
all
You've got
of
to.
it. You
You that
didn't mask it over or pretend you were okay. Like you felt it.
I
And
went there.
you didn't let yourself stay there. You're like, okay, I've been there. I felt it. Oh,
I let it go.
yeah.
I grieved. I grieved. I grieved my hair. I grieved my body. I grieved my organs. I grieved my womb. I grieved everything. I just grieved the loss of everything that was taken away from me because of this cancer, and I grieved. It was just a surreal moment when every time I think about it, it was that moment when I'm looking in front of the mirror out of the shower and I see my body and I see the devastation of what cancer does. And at that moment it's like, wow, that was it. I went through the moment. I cannot tell you how long it was, but I felt everything I needed to feel, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't cover up because a lot of times and
That's
now
brave.
I continue to realize that us as women, we cover up so much pain, so much things that we go through, and it manifests somewhere else. Like you hold this emotion, you hold this anger, you hold it, and you don't go through it. You don't grieve it. You don't feel it. You don't allow yourself to do it. And then it'll manifest in another sickness. It'll manifest in another blow up. It'll manifest in depression. It'll manifest in so many other ways.
Yeah.
So let it all out. Let it go. Just let it go.
Well done. Well done, my friend. Okay. Let's shift. Thank you. Thank you for that. How long after that did you start your first podcast or start like
Um,
talking on social
mhm.
media and like just
Talking to social media.
being open about the journey and
Correct. And during the pandemic, that's when I started going social media
okay.
because and during the pandemic, everybody was stuck at home. Then that's where I discovered TikTok and I discovered Facebook and I discovered Live and I discovered this. And I'm like, and my son Daniel, he's like, Mom, why don't you talk about your journey? Mom, why don't you don't talk about this?
That's
And then
right.
I discovered a product that I've always been using, this product called Immunical. So why don't you talk about that? And so that's where I started this whole journey of helping. And then I realized, hey, women would start texting me and DMing me and sending me messages and say, "Would you share it? Help me and thank you and this and that." And I started to see this community that I didn't plan for it, but they just wanted more and more advice and more of my life, and they wanted to know this, they wanted to know that, and it's still growing. It's a community out there that they follow me and they know my journey and it's like friends. And I've met one or two in person and we become friends and like, oh my God, my TikTok friend or my Facebook friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's funny because the biggest supporters are usually strangers. It's a great community. It's a great community of these women that are like me, that they've had divorce, they've had cancer, they're rebuilding their life. And to see another woman saying, hey, I've been there. Hey, I
Mm.
know what it's like. It's tough, but we can do it. And then they follow my journey and then they encourage me with their own stories. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. And I follow them, they follow me, and we support each other. So that's how community is building. Mhm.
Yeah, I love it. The beautiful side of all of our digital media.
Mm.
So you have two podcasts now, is that right?
Correct. Once yes, I'm sorry, Maria and Friends, and that's where I interview and we share like we're doing right now. And then a new one that we just launched is Dual Lens with Ulises, and he that one is funny because we debate both sides of the coin, and sometimes we get into arguments. And like this last time we're talking about gender roles and we argue in the air. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get canceled, but because he is something else, girl. He is something else. He
I've
likes to
listened
stir
to a
the
few
pot.
of them and they get spicy. They
Yes,
do.
he likes to stir the pot, and I'm like, "No, I don't think so, sir. But
Are they
it's good.
are all of your episodes about relationships
Yes.
on that
Mhm.
one? Okay.
Mhm.
So I know in that you do talk a lot about soul ties.
Yes.
And by the way, for my listeners, we will put the links to her podcasts
Yes.
below. So definitely check it out. I was interviewed on Maria and Friends not too long ago.
Yes.
So
That's good.
go and if you want to hear more of us, if we end and you're wanting more, there
Yeah.
is more.
It was great.
But anyway, back to this.
Yes.
You've spoken about soul ties before, and it's a concept that I hear sort of here and there, and I honestly would love your interpretation.
Yes. A soul tie is not sometimes you hear soul ties and it's always sounds like it's a bad thing, but soul ties could be a good thing. It could be it's just this emotional, deep, but really deep bond. Emotional, spiritual, almost physical bond with somebody. Honestly, you and I have a soul tie. And the reason we have a
That's a
soul tie
good soul tie.
yeah, it's a good soul tie, right?
Yeah,
So, and the
yeah,
reason I know it's a soul tie because it's been what 11 years, more years than that, and we still come back to each other
yeah.
because we went through divorce together. We worked together. There was a business that you built together. There was a lot of experiences that we shared together, and there's such a respect, such love that it's just very deep. It's one of those things that you and I can stop talking for years, but the minute you pick up the phone, we're back where we were left off, just like
That's right.
nothing
That's
happened.
right.
Like nothing happened. That's a good soul tie. In the same way, like I'm sure that you have friendships that you just feel that spiritual bond that sometimes when they're going through something, you feel it.
Mhm.
and they come to your mind because
Yes.
it just and you're like, "Huh, why am I thinking about Maria all of a sudden? And why am I?" And then you call her and, "Melissa, I'm glad you called,"
Yeah.
and this, and you're like, "Why?" Because
Wow.
you have like a spiritual connection. So the same way you develop and these and I'm not just not talking friendship. No, I'm just talking about that soul tie is a deeper connection that you feel that you develop with this one person. And sometimes you develop soul ties with people that you dated, people that you had relationship with. And sometimes it ended not properly or maybe you like, "Why am I still thinking of this person?" And
Mm.
if you I don't know if you've ever met somebody that talks about their ex and they just and you're like, "Get over it." And you're like, "He treated me bad and he did this
Ah,
to me and he cheated on me and he did
yeah.
this and he did that, but I still love him. I still." And you're
Yeah.
like, "Woman, let that man go. What is wrong with you?" You can't stop thinking about them. They come into your dreams. They come and some people experience them even in their dreams, touching them, pulling them. It's a deep, deep soul
Wow.
ties. It goes into a spiritual, thing that we need like a psychological bond that is just not healthy. And they try to get out of it. They try to, but they just like keep getting drawn to that person. And you're like, what does that man have over you? What does and you can almost see this cord around their neck or around their
Mm.
spirit that won't let that go even if it's
Mhm.
choking them, even if it's not we all know it's not a health thing. That's when you realize, oh, they have a soul tie because it's deeper than what they know. So how do you get rid of a soul tie? You have to have a clear understanding what boundaries are. You have to
Mm.
make different choices. You have to say no to that relationship. Like, don't take the call. Don't take the text. Don't let them visit. You have to. There's a process that you go through. Is like when there's something rooted, like a plant. You have to start cleaning everything around before you pull the
Mm.
roots. You clean out the area, and you start slowly and slowly pulling out that root. And you have to do that with that person. You have to cut the contact. You have and if let's say sometimes you have a soul tie with your ex-husband and you have a kid, you have to set boundaries because you know yourself that you can get drawn to that. And you have to do a lot of deep work in you, a lot of healing and get to know who you are and let yourself heal so you can be strong enough to cut that tie and say no more.
Mm.
I'm not going to let you
S
talk to me like that.
Yeah, so do you think these unhealthy soul ties come
Mhm.
because we need something and it's there to reveal something to ourselves that
Yes.
we need to heal?
Absolutely. Anybody that triggers anything in your life, it's untouched. It's unhealed
Mhm.
area. Like if somebody triggers you and you don't know why, that you gotta ask that question. Why is there triggering me a lot? When I had an unhealthy soul tie, I needed to be validated. This is when I learned about soul ties because I needed to feel validated because I had just gone through cancer. I just got gone through some things and I was feeling because of the divorce and I needed to know that I've had value as a woman, that I had worth. So I met this guy and he was amazing and he did all the right things and oh my god, it was just great and he filled that void, but he was a narcissist.
Mhm.
So I had the void and that was my void. My unhealed that unhealed part of me was an open door for him to come in and tie me up however he wanted. Hey, there's a valley in me. I have a different body, but that's okay. Somebody's coming
Mm.
around and love you just the way you are wherever you're at.
Mhm.
It's okay, Maria. You can receive love from God. You can receive love from your family, receive love and worth from who you are, what you are. You're a daughter of God and blah 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 and all that stuff. So I had to do all that work. So slowly, slowly let it go. And to the point that I can hear his voice and it doesn't bother me. I can see him, I can talk to him. There is no ties that will drag me through where he's at or and because goes deeper into this because sometimes he feels what you feel what each other feels. So
Right.
it's more manipulative. It's a wrong person that you have. Like, I know you still love me. I know you still think of me. He's right, but I'm not gonna, because there's a soul tie there pulling. But nope, there you gotta break all that stuff. So there's a process. Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going through a lot of soul ties here that I'm thinking of some of them that just sort of wore themselves out, but they wore themselves out without me learning the lesson. So then I had to have that unhealthy soul tie from someone else in order to finally take time to do the work. Wow.
Once
I
you
love
start
it's just like
realizing,
digging those roots out. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
you gotta dig out. You gotta dig them out, and you just gotta clean out, dig it out, and it's powerful because those soul ties, they're dormant, and they get activated by a sound, by a memory, or by something, and then you just start feeling this pull. And if you don't know that it's a soul tie and it was not of God and it's not a benefit to you, you think, "Oh my God, is the universe telling me I need to go back to him? Because after
Yeah.
all these years, I still remember him. Because after, oh my
We're
God, can you
meant
imagine
to
it? You
be.
meant
We're
it.
meant
Yes,
to
I
be.
mean, no joke, no joke. I'm like, oh my God, didn't he beat the crap out of you? And you want to go back to the? Are you sure are you sure that's God? Are you sure are you? Hello? Is the universe that been that mean to you? No, I love him. I still, it's been 25 years and I had a dream about him and it is meant to be. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm
I
just,
think sometimes it's just easier for us as humans to sit in all the dysfunction we know
yeah.
instead of doing the work, the hard work. And I
Because
think
we're
in
afraid of
my
pain.
case,
Because we're afraid of pain.
yeah, or afraid. Yeah. So if it's the
And
pain I
we're
can't
afraid of pain.
control, but I'm not going to do pain to myself. I'm not going to look in the mirror and look at my body and feel it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do what I have to do in this relationship to heal myself because it's going to hurt before it
Yeah.
feels better.
One of
Yeah.
one of the things that I've
Mm.
noticed talking to people that they don't do the work, the inner work. It's that they don't want to feel pain.
Hmm.
They don't want to dig in, they don't want to uncover, they don't want to move, they don't want to face the pain. But once, and I know you know this, that once you learn how to face your pain, it becomes easier and easier and easier, and you're like, I'm going to deal with this. It's going to hurt, but I'm going to deal with this because I've already done it several times and I survived it, and it gets better and better as time goes.
So you've spent this last decade, we've both spent on learning to belong to ourselves, learning to belong to our higher power, our
Yes.
Heavenly Father,
Yes.
and then learning how to have human relationships, how to grow the good ones, how to be there for people,
Yes.
how to allow people to be there for us, and how to let go of those unhealthy soul ties. So, Maria, is there a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Is that pot of gold by any chance have a name of Pablo?
Yes, he does. Yes. Yep. 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 He is my leprechaun. He's the little
So,
leprechaun holding the pot of gold. Yes, ma'am.
yay, Maria. I'm so excited for you in this very, I'm going to say new relationship because it's newly public.
In Unipublic, yeah. But
Um,
yeah. Uh-huh.
but I know
Uh-huh.
nothing happened probably that fast. So, what feels different this time?
I feel different because I know what I want
Mm.
and I know what I was looking for. I know what works for me and I know what doesn't. I know what hurts and I know what doesn't. I know what to look for. And in this relationship, um, I dated. I mean, I kissed a lot of frogs before I found this prince. But because I knew what it looked like for me, I was like, nah, that's not it. No, that's not it.
Mm.
That's not it.
Mhm.
And in this relationship, it feels different because it feels peace. It feels
Mm.
solid. It feels safe.
Mm.
And I know
Wow.
that's not very romantic. For some people, it's like, oh my God, I'm safe, or whatever. But when
It
you've got
sounds romantic to
yeah,
me.
yeah, but we've done the work, and we
Yeah.
know we know that chaos is not romantic. We know that chaos doesn't last. We know that toxicity in a relationship doesn't last. We know that fearful, and anxious, doesn't last. We know all those that we think is exciting. Oh my God, I'm alive and I feel excited. No,
Yeah.
you're anxious all the time. You are unsafe. You are all those things, but we romanticize all these deep, strong emotions that when somebody comes with peace, we're uncomfortable. We find it boring. We're not used to it. What is that? And then somebody comes that with no chaos and no toxicity, and we're shocked. We're like, this is
Wow.
so boring. Where's excitement? Where's the drama? Nobody's calling 911. What is happening here? You know, and we are not used to it. It's our mindset. We have to change.
Mm.
We have to think differently of what romance is, what safe feels like, what a good relationship, what a healed man behaves like. You're like, what do you mean? You're not calling me at 3 a.m. to know where I'm at? What do you mean you're not jealous? What do you mean you're not gonna beat him up? What do you mean you trust me? What do you mean you're not going through my phone? Don't you love me? I'm like, oh God.
You're not trying to control
You're
me.
not trying to control me? I can go with my friends and have a drink, really? You're not gonna show up there and spy on me? What? You
Mm.
trust me? Who are you? Yeah. So and then that's when we need to change our mindset, like, I don't need to see your phone. If I We're good, we're good. It feels
So
like
how did you and Pablo create belonging for each other? Like, how do you create a space where he feels safe belonging to you? And how did he create a space that you felt safe belonging to him?
it has to do with communication. The way our relationship was developed, we've done a lot of talking because of the distance. It helped us. Sometimes when you get into a relationship, if it becomes very sexually all the time and very physical, then that's all you want to do, and you don't allow time to get to know each other, to talk, to have those difficult conversations, those get to know you conversations, ask the right
Yeah.
questions. What is it that you want? What is it? So with a distance, in this case, it's everybody's different, everybody's needs are different, but because of our distance, it helped us go beyond the physical attraction and just see what is it that you want, what is it that you're looking for, what is it, because you need to talk. What else are you gonna how else are you gonna get to know each other? But if you're kissing all the time, nobody's gonna talk. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna have a conversation of what is it that you want, and then you get to know what he needs, what I need, what his expectations are, what my expectations are. Then you start asking questions. What is it that you want in life? What is it that I want? Do we meet in the middle? Can we compromise? I mean, my life is not perfect. Your life is not perfect. But is there enough space where we can both compromise? Do I fit in your life? Where do I fit in your life? Do you fit in my life? Where do you fit in my life? How does this life work together? Can we both build a future that we're comfortable? You're going to give up some stuff. But all that happens when you have conversations, when
Mm.
you allow space, and when you have that understanding, that knowledge that you need to let the other person talk and not just listen to respond, but really genuinely listen to understand. Because sometimes we tend to listen, okay, I'm going to say this when he's done. I'm going to say this when he's done. And I'm going to say that when he's done. No, 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 no. Listen with the intent to understand the person's soul and where they're coming from. And sometimes they don't have the verbiage. Like, oh my God, let me take my glasses off because this is a good one. You got to be mature enough sometimes. Listen, sometimes, yeah, like, because men say that women talk twice as much is true. But if they would listen to us the first time, we wouldn't talk so much. But the thing is, the thing is,
Truth.
yeah, the thing is that sometimes we need to allow enough space for them to come around and say what they need to say, however is it they need to say it. Because we have knowledge and we have understanding and we've done the work. We have the words, we have the definitions, we have what it looks like, and we don't allow them to come to that term and like, okay, I'm gonna give you a minute to finish that sentence till you come to what is it that you really want to
Mm.
say, and then we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and you
Mm.
gotta, there's a lot of relationship stuff that goes into it, but he makes me feel safe, and that to me is one, like we were talking earlier, that you need to do you understand that what is important to you, and if he meets that, you struck gold.
Yeah. I'm so happy for you. I'm thrilled. So if the Maria from 10 years ago, the one sitting at the front desk at Here on Earth, could see the Maria you are today, what do you think she would say?
I would tell her, don't worry so much. It's going to work itself out.
What would she be most proud of seeing you now in 2026?
How strong I
Yeah.
am, how strong I became, how brave I became, how brave, how strong, how brave
Yeah, she'd be
that,
so
yeah,
proud of you. Or
yeah.
she is so proud of you. And what would surprise her the most?
That I'm in social media. It would surprise her that I'm in social media because I don't want to, I don't like to be in front of cameras. I don't like to be in front of, at that time, I didn't want, I wanted to hide in a corner and just hide. I remember having conversations with you and I remember you asked me one time, Maria, is there something that you want to do? I'm like, no, I just want to hold your purse. All I want to do is hold your purse. I just want to hold your purse and
Yep,
I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to be in front of camera. I don't want to help nobody. I just
that's
wanna
right.
hold your purse. I just wanna be the mat where you walk and you're secure. That's all I wanna do. So that surprised me that I'm doing social media, that I'm out there, doing talking, speaking, and having all this. And it's like that's the biggest surprise for me.
What do you love most about being a podcaster?
The conversations,
Right?
the conversations, the nuggets, the stuff. I believe everybody has a story. Everybody has an amazing story that needs to be told. I believe that there's a lot of people that have learned lessons that would save other people time,
Mm.
and people brave like you and like me, that we are at this point that we are so transparent, and we are going to have those brave conversations, and we are giving people space to say, you're not the only one going through this. You're not alone. Other people, we survived. You're going to be okay. We're figuring it all out, and we're connecting. We're building this community, and you belong to the human race. I belong to the human race, and we're here together, and you're not alone. And let's belong to this community.
Hmm. So beautifully said.
Mhm.
Last question.
Yeah, okay.
What are you most excited about or inspired to pursue in the upcoming season of your beautiful life?
Podcasting full time, becoming a content creator full time. That is my next goal. Podcasting with some amazing people, do a podcast that will continue to help women that want to rebuild their life. And then they need somebody to tell them, hey, you can do it. Not
Mm,
how to do it, because everybody has their own journey, but hey, you can do it. Take the
right.
step. I got you. And that's my goal right now. That's what I'm excited about, and what I'm working really hard to do, be a full-time content creator for
Mm,
to have this space, to have these kind of conversations. I
I
love it.
love
I
it.
love podcasting.
Yeah, I love it. Maria, thank you for sitting with me today and chatting and sharing your heart and letting no question be off the table. Um, I love you dearly, and I'm so grateful that we have a healthy soul tie. And
Yes.
I I know it will be with us for a long time to come.
Absolutely.
So thank you, and enjoy every minute of your engagement and your being a fiance. It's such a fun and exciting time, and I look forward to our next conversations.
Absolutely.
To my listeners, thank you so much for being here. Leave some comments below. What do you want us to talk about? Is there a part of belonging that you feel and that you'd like us to delve into? Please put it in the comments. We would love to talk about that as well. I'd like to take a minute to thank our patron, Deanna Laughlin. Because of your generosity, we get to sit here and have these beautiful conversations. You belong to us, and we belong to you. That's it for this episode of the Belonging Podcast by Elev8 Villages, where we build belonging together.